formed or not. So I asked Mr. Keneally, what would you recommend? I have his recommendation in an email. I'm going to give it to Rita to be made part of the board minutes.
Excuse
To
me,
which Mr. Keneally said, let me finish first.
Recommendation. for what?
Recommendation
For what?
as to where we go forward with the establishment of the committee. Let me read his email.
Which committee are you
As I
talking
mentioned in
about?
our conversation, as you know below, any dispute amongst the town, I'm sorry,
We only
can I finish,
established it.
please?
I'm
Any
going-
dispute
no,
amongst the town
no,
board
Mark,
members.
No, because I don't know what you're talking about. You're using words one right after another, and there are lots
Well,
of
all
different
right.
committees here. Could you clarify as you go along, please?
Okay. The
Thank you.
master plan / codes committee and the subcommittees, and if you need the exact verbiage, it's in the information that John Clark presented, of which you authorized when you were on the board. I'll get it for you, I have it here. But let me read Mr. Keneally's email, which I'm going to enter into the minutes. As I mentioned in our conversation, Mark, as I mentioned in our conversation, and as you note below, any dispute amongst the town board members as to whether committees were properly created or disbanded is best addressed by a board resolution, which I have and which I read, that sets forth the various committees, their mission, which we're not changing from what you had presented last meeting in regards to the Comprehensive Plan Committee, because you'll recall, the mission was the same as the Master Plan Committee. Their mission and their membership, and it eliminates any future confusion on this matter. Such resolution may acknowledge and continue the work of the committees as they have existed prior to January 1st, 2010, or you can alter the membership, the mission, or the committees, or disband them and create new committees altogether. Taking such action will put to rest any uncertainty regarding the committees, rendering the questions of whether concerning the propriety of their creation or disbandment moot. All I'm doing is following the recommendation of Michael Keneally, the Association of Towns. Here's his email, I'll give it to you in the end, and I want to make it a part of the board minutes.
May I say something?
Sure.
One, Mr. Dewhurst.
Excuse me, if she has to say something, it's up to the person who's the presiding officer to say yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay.
is that all right? Okay.
Mr. Dewhurst, were you aware of this resolution before the meeting?
For that, no.
Were you, Chris?
No.
Okay. Also, I would like to point out to the board members that everyone was available to apply for a position on the newly formed Master Plan Committee, who was on that Codes Committee, and 3 of the people from the Codes Committee have done so. Everyone had that opportunity, and all did not choose to do so. But 3 of the members of the Codes Committee did apply for the Master Plan Committee. That's another thing. Have either of you gentlemen, Mr. Flynn or Mr. Dewhurst, discussed this resolution with Mr. D'Agostino?
No.
So this is a complete surprise to you as well?
News to me.
Okay. I'm quite curious to ask, particularly you, Tom, why you are not concerned about having something come to your attention at the last minute and not having an opportunity to review it, which has certainly been a concern of yours in the past.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because I've done my homework, and I went on the minutes, and I checked the boards, and I checked all the minutes of the meetings that I could find, and it said exactly there that people were on that committee, okay, the Codes Committee, the Master Plan Committee, monies were transferred, okay, for services rendered, and anytime that's done, and you have minutes to a meeting, and you have monies transferred, to me, that's a legitimate committee, okay? So what he brought up just verifies what I found out in the board meeting, in the board minutes, and on the videos that I checked on the computer. Yes, I do my homework. Yes, I know how to work a computer, and boy, I'm going to learn even more, because I'm being questioned left and right. Yeah, I'm a newbie. I'm only here 3 months. We've got people here going on 4 years. And yes, we don't know everything yet, but I'm going to find out. And I think he's 100% right.
The new committee is not a codes committee. It's a
Right.
comprehensive plan committee.
The old committee
The
was a
old
master
committee
plan
was
committee.
not a master plan committee.
It was
and
both.
It was
combined.
not.
No.
It was a codes committee, and their mission in the very beginning was to maybe do some tweaking to the master plan, but all they wanted to do was to amend the codes of the town. That was the plan. That was why it was established. The 3 committees before that were ad hoc committees of citizens, which had nothing to do, except we did meet, we produced reports. At least 2 of the committees produced a report. The housing committee did not
But
produce a
that
report.
validates what Mark just said. That validates what Mr. Keneally.
The town of Stanford did not
said.
develop and empower ad hoc master planning committee. The town board did not. The town supervisor did. And because if you're going to quote from something from Dutchess County Planning, where they did not read the minutes of our meetings, that's fine. But it was not the town of Stanford that developed it. It was not the town board that voted on any of this. It was the town supervisor who created the 3 committees and announced them and appointed people and announced them. Yes, I was on one. I was delighted to be on one, on a master plan committee. And we worked very hard on the master plan committee. And when we were finished, we produced a report, which I think was very helpful in the ongoing process, as was the zoning committee. But the committees were not voted on by the town board. They were simply people appointed to committees by the supervisor. The codes committee, likewise, was an appointed committee by the supervisor, and the town board did not hear about the codes committee publicly until it had already been meeting several times. So to say that they were town board committees is incorrect. They were not. When we hired the planner on the town at our town board meeting, the way it was presented was not it was not that we were voting to hire a planner to work with the codes committee. The way it was worded was because I didn't know about the codes committee. I won't say we, I'll say I. I had never heard of it. The way it was worded was that having the results of the three committees that met, it seems that it would be helpful for the town of Stanford to have a planner. And some towns do hire planners the way they hire town attorneys. And when we voted to hire the planner was hired for the town of Stanford. It was not stated that the planner was hired to work with the codes committee. So I did not vote funds to hire a planner to work with the codes committee. I voted against him. But the planner was hired to work for the town of Stanford, generally.
May I say something else?
Yes.
I just want to note that I had the feeling at the last meeting that we were really moving forward as a board, that we had passed a resolution for a comprehensive plan committee. I no longer feel that way. I don't see how this he said, she said, this was, this wasn't, is moving forward the process for the people of Stanfordville. Anybody on that codes committee could have, whether it was legal or not, could have applied for the master plan committee, the comprehensive plan committee, and those who wanted to did. We haven't even voted. And I also want to mention that when we felt it was appropriate to go into an executive session to discuss people, that was not seen as appropriate by the majority of the board. However, it seems to be a very important piece of this, and I agree that that's how it should be done. But 3 of those people have applied for these positions. I think we should stop going back over the past and